Okay, one of the things that's really important with setting up a still life is some kind of uh, simple light that you can move around and decide where you want your light coming from in your drawing. I'm not going to be drawing the light. I'm going to be drawing these two objects right here. That's my study. So this is object is obviously lighter in value than this object. This object is a dark gray object. So already there's going to be a lot more darks in this, but really strong highlights as well. You want to look for that. Look at the highlights that you have in places. Those are really critical, and you may need to come back and erase some of those highlights in. So when we're setting this up, I want to see where I want my light source. Do I want it here? Do I want it there? So that's a critically important aspect of what we're doing. I think that's pretty good right there. I like, because I have an overhead light here, I have shadows coming this way that are kind of interesting. So that's an important aspect of that. Move that light just a little bit, make the back on that gray cup really dark. Okay, nice. All right, so I can start doing this by establishing where I want things to be. And one, I think I want to move over a little bit and get this horizontal in there going at a little different angle. Now, this'll do, this'll do. Just have to cut this off down here. So I'm even gonna take a ruler and just draw the thing at a slight angle. That's where I'm gonna set my cups on top here. So I've already got this background, this foreground in. It's just going to be this. I'm going to set the cups over here. So one, they're overlapping this line. And how wide is that cup? If I go like so and make that cup that wide, and this is going to be the low point, that I can start to create that curve just by determining where the high point and where the low point of that is on the cup. The cup has straight sides. So these are straight verticals. Anytime you're working with verticals, they're going to be parallel with the edge of the paper, as horizontals are parallel with the edge of the papers. I wanted this on a slight curve. So now I can, this is an important thing, I can hold my pencil out here and I can adjust that in my side. I'm closing my left eye because I'm right eye dominant, and I see how wide is that cup. Then I compare the width to how high that is, and it is almost exactly the same. So the width at the bottom of this, I slide my finger to where I catch the width at my arm's length is right there. So now I change that and I go to the height, and it's just barely a little bit taller than the width. So if I do this, if I measure this, that's going to be 2 inches across, means it's going to be from here 2 inches high. A little bit higher, remember. The cup is slightly higher than it is wide. So now I've got a vertical. This runs parallel to that. So now I've got a vertical, and we can do the same thing freehand, just bringing that line down. And now I can see where this cup is not going to be quite as big of an ellipse. It's going to be a little bit smaller because it's closer to my eye level. So that drop and that ellipse is not going to be as great on this side as it is there. This starts to come around, and just as it does over here, as it rolls around to the back side. So we'll make an imaginary ellipse of this coffee cup. Looks a little bit thinner at the top. I think this line went in just a tad, so that's okay. We can just straighten this out. Okay, so there I've got that coffee cup basically dropped into this image. I know that the handle is connected here, almost covers up the bottom, comes out. And once again, if we test our width on that, gee, it's about halfway. So if I take the height of this and bring that out about halfway, I'm going to be coming out almost this far. We know that we're connected right here, and that connection comes out, up, and out, and starts to curve right there. So I'm going to be swinging this curve out here and swinging this curve back up this way. So here we've got a cup with the handle. Okay, so that takes care of that. I think I moved this a little bit thinner. That takes care of the initial part of what's going on here. Now remember, we have a cup with a smaller diameter, and that cup curls in on the bottom. So it is actually sitting on a space that you can't even see, because it's been trimmed, and it's also at an angle. So I can make this come out at an angle, and this with the corresponding angle. And we see, compared to the height of the bottom cup, that top cup is a little bit shorter. So I go with this height, I come up here, and that cup is going to be about up in here. It's wider at the brim than it is at the base. So it has this wide brim, comes in, curves in like that, and this handle happens to be in the back, coming from about halfway, curving right up into that. I hate those shakes. So this is about the dimensions of the cup on the top. There, so we've got it roughed in. So if you can do that, rough this in, let it just get away from it for a little while, because I know that's going to take a lot out of you. When you come back, we're going to work on shading.